With Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4 on the way, I realized I haven't played through Chapters 1 and 2 in the last couple years. Coming in, I remember vastly preferring the second chapter, so I was prepared to be unimpressed by the first part. However, this couldn't be further from the truth. There's so much detail packed into a brisk 2-hour playthrough, so many bits and moments that made this replay feel so worth it. The opening in the town serves as an introduction to the world. It's supposed to make you feel like you're playing a parallel to Undertale, what with its repeated characters, menus, art style, basically everything. Susie is introduced as a bully who is clearly mean, but not bad. Ralsei is the opposite, a goody two-shoes who doesn't want to fight anyone. I decided to do this playthrough fully pacifist, which means not killing enemies and always warning them of Susie. For the greater part of this chapter, Susie will attack enemies and not listen to Kris or Ralsei, which is actually incredibly important to note here. Your soul is only controlling Kris, not the party members. It is heavily implied that the player has no direct agency over them, and Ralsei and later Susie are just willingly following Kris's instruction. The last key player here is Lancer. Lancer is the comic relief of this chapter, but he actually has a great dynamic with Susie that evolves over the course of the story. At first, Lancer just attacks the party. His attacks are pretty pathetic, and you basically need to try to get hit to take enough damage to lose. It makes sense though, as it is the tutorial fight. He just rams you with his bike as if it's Wario's side special, and throws a few spades to start conveying the card theme. Then Ralsei tries to give you tutorial, after the tutorial for some reason. You tell Ralsei that unfortunately a 1200 page textbook is taking up space in your inventory that can be used to store more important items. We're gonna lose every battle if we can only fit 11 dark burgers instead of 12, isn't that right? Lancer in his next appearance attacks you with this very scary group of Hathies. A lesser Deltarune player would die here. Me, I dodged every one of their attacks and made it to the next encounter by Christmas. The next encounter, Lancer did his best Santa Claus impression for the occasion. The battle with the jigsaws is nothing special, moving on. Man, this game does a great job of being fun without complex combat or mechanics. The K-round fight has gameplay like any other, but the context of the story makes it really fun anyway. To spare K-round, you have to knock its power-up crown off, and it rolls away silently before presenting you the windscreen. Susie and Lancer end up befriending each other, and the next few interesting moments have to do with their so-called evil plotting, and these are definitely some of my favorites. First, we have the machine to thrash your own ass creator, or duck creator for short. Then the bit about Lancer and Susie being terrible at mazes, so you have to go whichever way they don't go to get through. Then the duck you created shows up, and they blow it up. They would still blow it up if some psychopath created something that wasn't a duck, right? I wouldn't know, because I'm not a psychopath. Then, during their fight, you have to put Susie to sleep to prevent her from covering Lancer's ears so you could try to reason with him. After Lancer listens, Susie tags along too. There's some extra funny dialogue you get for speaking to Lancer again. On that note, it's really impossible to tell how much optional dialogue I miss when playing through games like this. This next part is the one I remembered most clearly going into this playthrough. Susie absolutely crashes out and almost kills Lancer, while he does a tutorial and doesn't really fight back. Lancer tried to trap you in prison because he doesn't want anyone to get hurt, and once he says that, everyone is magically friends again. I didn't remember Rules Card being in Chapter 1. The best part of his appearances, despite the comedic dialogue, is the sudden start and stop of his theme. Honestly, explaining doesn't do it justice, just watch the cutscenes. Susie's introduction into not smacking everything with an axe is chucking Ralsei instead. Seriously, this is peak and genius writing, all of it. The secret boss Jevil was quite fun, but much easier than I remembered. I beat him with just one death, which would have been avoided if I just played a little more carefully. Certain attacks just clicked for me this time around. For example, I realized for the spiral attack you should stay near the center and just go around in a circle. World Revolving is also probably my favorite track from this chapter. The final boss, King, is laughably easy. He posed less threat than normal monster battles, what with his low damage attacks and easy access to healing spells for the party. Ralsei's dumbass heals him to give him another shot at killing us, but it's a cutscene so we're completely fine. Pacifist ending was pretty nice. All the monsters help you overthrow the king and you go back to receive their congratulations. Then you and Susie leave, friendlier than ever. I'm probably not up to date on my Deltarune theory, but here's why I think Kris doesn't want the soul inside of them. I think the soul, and by extension the player, is a flaw. The only entity with the power to make mistakes, to screw up the operation. When Kris is by themselves, dodging overworld attacks before meeting up with the rest of the party, who is the only one that can get hit? Them. By fault of you. If you skip Chapter 1 entirely, the most streamlined, pacifistic route through was implied to be taken. There is no implication that anything went wrong whatsoever. The player is the only thing that could do harm. I'm excited to replay Chapter 2 next, and everything will be ready for Chapters 3 and 4 on June 5th.